And it is time. Greetings, everyone, to CyberCast After Dark. You might be wondering, who the heck am I and what is this all about? Because if you parachuted into here, well, you've come to Crazy Town. Because I'm just a crazy person, likes to talk about cyber stuff. I'm gonna bring in another crazy person, likes to talk about cyber stuff. There's a bunch of crazy people in chat. Guess what they like to do? Cyber stuff. You nailed it. Nailed it. We're gonna have a good time tonight because that's what this is what it's all about. I've gotta mute myself, which is a good idea because it just screamed in my ear. I forgot the YouTube channel is up there, Daniel. That's going to be good. But yeah, no, this is what we do. We talk cyber security. It's a little evening show. We've got the kids to bed. They're nestled away and having a good time, hopefully dreaming quite nicely at this point because it is kind of late, at least for the East Coast. Those of you on the left coast might be experiencing a little different story. But tonight, we have a very special guest. I'm super excited to bring them on tonight because super cool guy. A lot of great information. Got a great YouTube channel. If you haven't checked that out, got great resources. We're going to let them talk all about that stuff. Make sure we get those in your hands as well. Let's go ahead and enter with our good friend, the one, Mr. Dakota Snow. Good days, Dakota. How you doing today, sir?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Did I do it right? Did I follow through with the
right. You did it right. You did it right. I thought you were going to go a little bit more extreme, though.
Oh, you want extreme, do you? I'm about to flip this table. Where's my matches? I got to start a couch fire.
Started on fire. Yeah.
That's right.
Standing on top of a burning couch, shredding on your guitar, right?
That's it. Get it out. I'm like that dude on the Mad Max episode's got the guitar with the flame shoot. Yep. I'm just cranking, having the best time of my life.
Totally see that.
In my face.
Oh, it's great to be here tonight, though. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being on. We're really looking forward to having you on because we've got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. But before we get too far down the weeds, just in case there's someone that's been living under a rock, they don't know exactly who Dakota is, the man, the myth, the legend. Why don't we give you just a few minutes to enlighten them? Who is Dakota? Tell us. You're
too kind. You're too kind. My name's Dakota. I am the host of the Bearded I.T Dad YouTube channel. I also host the IT Career podcast, and I have a community called the IT Career Accelerator, where I help people break into and advance their careers in the tech industry. That's what I'm all about. Is I try to help people follow their dreams in technology, whether that's cybersecurity, as most of us out here, or, networking, cloud, software engineering. I just try to be that resource that everyone looks forward to help advance their career. So that's what I'm all about. Like I said, YouTube, Bearded I.T Dad podcast, and I also have a community where I teach the actual career skills I talk about on YouTube. So resume, we do mentorship, we do coaching, you name it. So you've been living under a rock.
Hey, it does happen. Every now and then we got a troglodyte, and which I believe means cave dweller. Right?
Well, that's what they do with chocolate.
Yeah, or it's a type of monkey. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun. We're just having a good time here. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Let us check in with the chat because we got a lot of really cool people in chat. Our chat is as much a part of this conversation as we are. So I love to reach into there and go, hey, who's showing up tonight? We've obviously got Anita showing up. FedEx is in the house. We always enjoy having FedEx. Ooh. If you need someone to really stir things up and get things spicy, FedEx is your boy. He will do it for sure. Who else we got in there? Wayne's Real World. Always a pleasure to have Wayne in. We got to take a minute just to recognize Wayne because Wayne is a pillar of multiple communities. This guy is the hidden face behind mine, Jerry, so many others. I mean, I could just go down the list, right? He's everywhere and doing a lot of stuff for us. So I just want to give a shout out to Wayne because he's such a great dude. Thank you, Wayne, for all you do. You are a treasure, good sir. Let's see who else is in the house. TJ Williams, Bearded After Dark. I like it. Because we are sporting some beards. Brian Bauer made his way here. Guy from back in the IT Pro TV days. He actually worked for us a little bit, did some QA for us. Really solid dude. Chris Young, Code Brew, Justin Williams. We got Sozo4110. Let's see here. The Lost Gambler. Good to see Victor Rosa, my man. What's going on? Alice Grimm. Always a pleasure. If anybody's going to bring some fire questions to the chat, it's going to be Alice Grimm. She is a very smart person and has phenomenal questions. And White Hat Sheepdog, Tech Grunt. Man, so many good folks here tonight with us. We're so glad you guys all got to join us. I know I'm probably missing a person or two, but if you're lurking out there, chime in. You don't have to be shy. We're nice people. We just seem like we're insane. I mean, that's not untrue.
That's not untrue. I was going to say, speak for yourself there, Daniel.
It's in a good way, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a requirement of working in this industry. You got to have a few screws loose, you know.
That checks out. That absolutely checks out. So that said, let's
or
get
a
in.
really good beard.
Oh, yeah. There is something about the beard, right? And check in. This makes me think. So in my Discord channel, by the way, if anybody wants to join the Discord channel, you're not a part of it yet, link is in the description. Go ahead and clack that and come have some fun with us, because we have crazy channels like Daniel Lowry Facts, and some of them are really fun. You remember Chuck Norris Facts?
Oh, yeah.
Right. So just take that, and they're applying it with a cyber tech spin to it. They're a lot of fun. So I have laughed my butt off at many of these things. Let's see here. We've got Daniel Lowry likes his meat so rare he only eats unicorns. That's from Nerdpocalypse. That was a great one. Alice Grimm's got one in there. Can crack even the strongest passwords with ease, but only if they're not encrypted using his own proprietary algorithm, which is so secure nobody's cracked it yet. It's like, dude,
you're a legend. See, we should be bowing down to you.
But dang it, if it's not funny, I have had more chuckles and good times just in there. We do stuff like the fish farm where people bring in their fishing. Like anybody that's gotten a fish on text or an email, they drop it in the channel and they look at it. It's super fun. We make fun of it. We just have a good time. Kind of like one was in the channel today, actually, that was actually the fish would make it to where Discord would turn your camera on and take images and send it to a cloud server. Yeah, and they popped it. Super cool. Lots of fun stuff going on there. So red team stuff, blue team stuff, you name it. We're having a great time in there. Join us in Discord. That said, Dakota, let's get into some actual conversation here, because we were talking before the show. And the first thing I want to talk to you about is
you don't need Security Plus.
Security Plus is garbage.
That kind of show.
This is great. No, you nailed it. You grabbed you took it. You put out a little video the other day, yesterday, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it was a few more days ago than that.
Was it was Monday? Okay, maybe I just saw it that day. But talking about like, hey, you don't actually need any of this. This is all hot garbage. Throw it in the trash. And I'm looking at you going, what's he doing? I'm like, I know what he's doing. But this was a great conversation. You with Ginger Hacker.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that conversation and why this was an important conversation to have.
I feel like there's so many people in the tech industry and cybersecurity that are all telling you what you need to do, what certifications you need to get. There's a few of us out there, not us necessarily, but there's a few influencers out there that are like, you need to go learn this skill right now. If you don't, you are like hot garbage. And it leads to a lot of misconceptions and rumors. I feel like, a lot of people in the industry think you need all these certifications to even be successful, to land that first job. And I want to just say that's just not the case. Certifications absolutely do have a place, but they will never land you a job. Now, let me kind of get into that a little bit deeper. Is certifications, there are some companies that do require certifications like Security Plus, especially if you're going to work in the government sector. A lot of government jobs require Security Plus. But like me personally, I landed my first job in the field with no certifications whatsoever. I was a college dropout. I had no experience in tech at all, and I had no certifications. And I was actually able to land my first job in the tech field. Yes, it was a help desk, but also, I went from a help desk entry-level position, and in the time span of 3 years, was able to scale up all the way to director of network operations. And you know how many certifications I still have? two. I have my A plus, which I never really needed to get because I was already working in the tech industry, and then I have a little low level Cisco certification. So the point I was trying to make is certifications aren't required. You can absolutely find your path into the tech industry without any certifications. And I just wanted to try to demystify that because so many people don't even start applying until they have certifications. And I feel like they're missing out. One of the, or two of the most important skills in cybersecurity is soft skills, first and foremost. I think soft skills are the most valuable skill you can have. And then experience. And I already hear a lot of people, I'm not watching the chat right now, but how can you get experience if you can't land a job? Well, like I was talking about in that video, there is tons of different ways to get experience when you're first starting out in cybersecurity. We got great platforms out there like Try Hack Me, Hack the Box. There's Simply Cyber. There's tons of great platforms where you can build labs. You can build your own home lab. Set up virtual machines, and you don't need to be working in the industry to start building that experience that employers want to see you have. You do need experience to land your first job, but where you get that experience, where you build those skills, you are in complete control. So yeah, I did say you don't need Security Plus, but there's tons of other ways to learn. You don't have to spend a penny to break into this field. And you're going to have probably a little bit harder path to get into tech, or cybersecurity or wherever you're heading, but you can do it. That is the great thing I love about technology in general, just the tech industry. There are so many different paths to get in. You can do whatever you want. There's really no wrong way to break into cybersecurity. You just have to figure out what works for you. Oh, I think you're muted, or my headphones shut off.
Nope, I muted. I forgot, but I couldn't agree with you more. I was muted while you were. I didn't want to. I was coughing, but and this is someone who teaches certification training, right? Like
Yeah.
I have made my career on helping people gain certifications. And ever since I've been doing that, I've been preaching about, man, I wish that it didn't have to be, because there was a time. I think we're in a weird spot right now when it comes to certifications. I'm going to get your take on that here in just a moment. But for a very long time, it's certs, and that is how you prove skills. But we all started taking, so a lot of people start taking certs. When the more people take certs, the more they go, hey, I don't know if this actually proves necessarily X, Y, or Z. And you get a lot of people that were getting hired. They didn't know how to do stuff. And employers were getting a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Jaded to the certification holder necessarily. And now you start getting technical questions during interview time because I got to make sure you actually know what the heck you're talking about. And you didn't go out and do some, exam cram kind of thing, or not exam cram, but test king.
I've hired those people too. So
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I was a proctor for Pearson VUE and Prometric. And I remember watching a guy go in, and this was back in the day, he took the Microsoft DBA. And I don't know if y'all know this. So people were asking me about Don Pizzette. Don Pizzette told me that was one of the few exams that he failed the first time he took it. And Don Pizzette is a brilliant, brilliant man, specifically around databases. Yeah. And this kid goes in and in 12 minutes passes it with flying colors. And I'm like, so you're either a savant or something's not right here. And of course, I heard later that he got hired on and didn't last very long in the industry because of that very thing. So I was like, certs are tough. They do all these stupid things. And a lot of cert exams, when you take them, they test you on how well you take an exam and not necessarily on the knowledge base that they want you to know, which is frustrating in and of itself. So I was always like, there's got to be a better way. So Dakota, I think that's kind of what you're getting at, right? Is that like, yes, there is a better way. Tell us a bit, like I'm doing home labs. What's the best way I can do things like home labs, get out there on LinkedIn, not marketing, but networking ourselves? What are the things that we should be doing that can either supplement or take the place of those certifications?
I mean, marketing ourselves is true as well. We do have to market ourselves to potential employers. But there is tons of different things we can be doing. the biggest thing, especially if you're not going certifications, you want to try to do this on your own, is documenting your journey. Now, you can document your journey several different ways. You can create a blog and start blogging all the time. You can create a newsletter. You can post on LinkedIn your journey. You can create a YouTube channel. Matter of fact, I would love to see many of the people out there document their journey on YouTube, because that does so many things for you. First and foremost, you're documenting what you're learning. That way, if you ever want to reference it in the future, you can show it to an employee when you're in an interview. Say they ask you a question, they're like, oh yeah, matter of fact, I've done that before, and you walk them through that. And if you want to see me, how I did that, here you go to my YouTube channel, you can go to my blog and see where I created a post on me doing that, talking about it. So first of all, you're creating a record of your work. Next, you never know who you might be helping with that. We all come from different backgrounds. We all, again, find different paths into this industry. The whole reason I started my YouTube channel is because, like I said, I had no certifications, no prior work experience. I was a college dropout, and I was at a job as a bulldozer operator, and I hated my job. So I went to YouTube to learn how to get into tech. And once I got into tech, I want to help others find their way into the industry. So I created my YouTube channel to try to help others. So what I'm kind of getting to is there's great ways to not do certifications, but you really need to lean into documenting what you're doing in your home labs. And you don't have to like reinvent the wheel with these home labs either. There's tons of great labs out there. If you want to pay for a platform like Try Hack Me, Hack the Box, great, absolutely. They're Simply Cyber, Just Learn Cyber Academy. There's tons of them out there, but pick something that you enjoy, because also, if you don't enjoy labbing, if you don't enjoy the process, you're not going to do it. You're going to fall behind. You're not going to create your documentation, and you're never going to be able to break in. So you have to figure out what works for you again. And maybe, doing home labbing isn't quite your thing. Then maybe look into certifications. Certifications are great for the people who need that structured learning environment. They need, okay, these are the things I need to learn. The certification in this at the end really doesn't help you that much, but it helps you outline the things you need to learn. Don't cheat yourself when you're studying for the certification either. Don't do brain dumps and things like that. But there is great resources out there for you to learn the skills.
Absolutely. And what's funny is this is why I train the way I do, is because
Yeah.
I saw certifications. I was taking certification exams and going, there has got to be better than this. I remember taking CEH, and CEH grew a reputation.
Yeah.
And as you just, I just have to say the letters CEH, right? And I'm looking at this exam, and I take the exam, and I'm like, I don't feel like I actually know any of this stuff, and I passed. Right. So when I made training, by the way, this is a great segue, because I've got some big news for the good folks
Yes.
out there. Right. When I make training, I said, well, let me make it to where if someone was watching this training or taking my training, they would actually know things at the end of it. It wouldn't just be, here's a tool, here's what it does. Here's a tool, here's what it does. Screen capture, screen capture, screen capture, slide, 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 slide. It was like, that is lame. And you don't learn hardly anything doing that. They basically go, here's a deck. And I'm not just picking on them. CompTIA does it as well. I mean, they're better at it than they were. Right. But, a lot of organizations have traditionally done this. And I said, okay, if I'm going to make a course for this, so good news, everyone. I've got some fun news right here, which I forgot to say. I should have said it earlier, but my Pentest course, my Pentest Plus course is done. It is finito. It is wrapped. It is uploaded. It is in the Simply Cyber Academy. It will be available next week for your purchase and your enjoyments. And it's 84 episodes of this guy talking about pen testing in just about every type of facet. And I show it to you, right? I'm like, let's get hands on with this. Let me not just show you the slide of the tool. Here's the tool right here. Let's do the tool.
Yeah.
And that, to me, that was like the difference. It's like, you know what? You could take my Pentest Plus course and go pass your exam, but you could also just take it because you just want the knowledge. You don't necessarily have to go take that exam. You could just be like, I
Exactly.
just want to learn pen testing. That was my mindset. That seems to be how you think as well. Am I wrong?
Absolutely. Again, a lot of people need that structured learning, and certifications are great because they outline everything you need to learn. And certifications have come a long way too. We do have the big certifications like Security Plus, Pen Test Plus, that employers recognize. But there's another form of certifications out there. We're starting to see them pop up a lot more, where these learning platforms come up with their own certifications as well. We have like TCM Securities PNPT, where it's a practical certification. I love the practical certifications that are coming out because you can't really just brain dump the knowledge. I did one not too long ago. TryHackMe had a Pen Test 1 certification where you're actually working as a penetration tester and you have to fill out the reports and you're graded on your reports, not just multiple choice answers. So these practical certifications are trying to start to get around the whole brain dump idea, but that's beyond the point. You can just take the certification to learn the knowledge, and that is really what you need to land the job.
Absolutely. You got to have that knowledge. If you don't have that knowledge, it's what good does the cert do you other than to get you into the interview room?
Right.
And then if you get there and totally bomb it, then it really didn't do anything for you, right? You got a certification. The purpose of it is to make sure that when you get into that room, it's trying to get you past that gatekeeper, past that HR. And when you get in there, you actually can speak with some authority about the topic of the job that you're applying for. Right. If you can't do that, then whatever it is, and it might not even be the certification's fault. It might just be the training's fault. I've seen that as well. There's some really bad training out there, some really good training out there. You have to be very discerning. And because it is your money that you are going to lay on the barrelhead, that has to go out of your wallet. You got to make sure that's got a good reputation, that people in the industry go, oh no, that's really good training. I'm glad you took that. I've heard of people getting interviews based off of not necessarily a certification, but because of the specific training that they took. I set a boot camp at Defcon with this person. I know that person. Let's say you took, I don't know, a course from Tim Medine from Red Siege, or Mike Saunders from Red Siege, or some other pen testing firm that has a big name in it. That's going to carry a lot of weight. So
one thing I learned early on is you don't necessarily have to have the certification yet either to be able to meet those requirements. A lot of times, if you're working towards a certification, just listing on your resume that you're working towards a certification is as good as having the actual certification. And again, if you are taking it from a very reputable place or person, that carries its own weight as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, the chat is popping. It is lively. I want to get into some of this because we've definitely got some questions going on here. I've got a few of them already started and pinned. This one comes from White Hat Sheepdog. He's asking, is A+ all you really need? Seems like the A+ cert has done wonders in your life and Dakota's. So you've got it. I've got it. Yep. I could see where you would get that.
I created an A+ course even.
I have also made A+ courses in my tenure as a trainer. Let me start with you. What do you think about the A+ course? Do you still think it holds enough weight? Do you think it's still worth it to go for it? Go for it.
So first and foremost, I want to tell a lot of people, if you're already working in tech or you have more than that basic level knowledge, you don't need the A+. It is a great certification for people that are looking to break in, that either one have like absolutely no experience in tech, that want to break into the tech industry. But the A+ is for when you're going for that first initial entry level job. If you are either already working that or you're just trying to bypass that job, then no, you really don't need the A+. It teaches you very useful skills though. So if you're not going to actually obtain the certification, go learn the material, skim through the exam objectives, see if you know everything on those exam objectives. If you feel like you know everything on that, just take that time and go towards another certification. Like go for a networking or a cybersecurity certification. Go for their next entry level certification. But it really depends on what you're looking to get out of it. A+ isn't necessarily cheap either. You got to take 2 exams to actually get your certification. That cost adds up. You're looking to spend $600 just on your certification alone, if not more, plus whatever training material. So you really got to kind of judge, where you're at. But first and foremost, look at those exam objectives and see how much you feel comfortable with that information. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, great answer. I think that when you hit on, I'm super green. I've decided I'm gonna stop working at Dairy Queen and I'm gonna go into tech. That's a phenomenal first start. And even if
Yes.
you're, again, this is where it's like you don't necessarily need to go get the cert, right? It's the
Right.
training and the knowledge that's important. I think Dakota and I both agree on this. Certs are great if you're looking at jobs, and this is where I kind of like pin my value on certification. If I'm looking at a job and I keep seeing A plus, A plus, A plus, A plus, A plus for
Exactly.
help desk, workstation support, PC repair, MSP, whatever it is, whatever the jobs are, and you keep seeing A plus, A plus, A plus, what does that tell you? That tells you that they value that certification. Am I wrong?
Yep. No, you're 100% right. And another thing to think about too is that changes geographically. I've noticed as well. Depending on where you're living and those jobs that are hiring, they might value certifications differently. If you're living in maybe a smaller town and going after local jobs, they might not care so much about your certifications. If you're going to go work for one of the FANGs, the big giant organizations out there, first of all, I don't think any of those companies are going to require you to have an A plus. But if you're going for a larger organization, they might care more about certifications.
Yeah, that's like an ITT Tech ad from back in the day. I got my A plus at ITT Tech, and I started to work at Google.
Yep, exactly.
They didn't tell you that you were like a front desk assistant, right? Well, I do work at Google, right? That's like they got me. I'm gonna lie. They got me. They got me good. They built me for thousands. That's why they're out of business. All right, great question though. Let's see here. What else do we got? We've got from OX Nacho Shell. Is it harder nowadays for someone to be able to land any type of job, especially beginners? Getting to the heart of the matter right now.
Yeah. I don't necessarily harder than like 10 years ago. Probably, yes. Tech is constantly evolving and people have to learn to adapt with it. That's one thing. If you don't enjoy constantly learning and constantly skilling yourself up, you're going to get left behind in this industry. So, a lot of people say right now, this is a whole nother topic, is AI are taking all these jobs. And, I think I disagree with that. AI is taking jobs 100%, but not taking all the jobs. And for every job it takes, I feel like it's creating so many extra jobs out there. But the jobs we saw 5-10 years ago are totally different than the jobs we're seeing now in the market. You can still break into the tech industry quite easy. This is also one thing I constantly get pinged about in my comments section is, I've applied for hundreds of thousands of jobs and I'm not getting any interviews. If you're applying for hundreds of jobs and not getting a single interview, you're doing something wrong. Because I received this advice years ago and I tell it to everyone I can. If you're applying for jobs and you're not getting interviews, your resume sucks. Like I can't sugarcoat it. If you're applying to jobs and you're not getting interviews, your resume sucks. If you're going to interviews and not getting job offers, your interview skills suck. And that sounds so harsh, but sometimes I think it's the tough love that some of us need, because that happened to me after my first job in tech. I was like, great, I got 2 years of experience under my belt. I'm going to people are going to be laying out red carpets for me, begging me to come to work for them. And
Did you have a wake-up call, Dakota?
I had a hard wake-up call. I went 3 months before I could land my next job. And I was applying for jobs and I wasn't getting a single interview request. I started debating this.
I'm so glad you brought this up, because I actually wrote this down as a question to ask you, which is, why does my resume suck? What is wrong with my resume? What are the common pitfalls and foibles that we're falling into that makes our resumes just suck sour frog butt?
Yeah, well, there's several things. One, you're just creating a bullet point of keywords. You're trying to stuff all these keywords into your resume, but we often forget there's a human reading our resumes. Yes, they have to. I mean, there's the whole thing of ATS compliance and the AI reading your resume. But after that, who's going to actually decide to whether or not to call you in for an interview is a person. There's a person that has to read through that. You have to make your resume readable to like a third grader as well. You got to hold their hands. And I kid you not, you laugh. But when I was told this advice, you know, like, hey, your resume sucks, you need to change it, I completely rewrote my resume. You know, I don't care about the 1 page, 2 page, that doesn't matter. But what I do is this is a simple formula that all of you should be doing. When you're applying for jobs, on one side of your screen, you should have the job listing that you're interested in. On the other side of your screen, you should have your resume. And you need to adjust your resume for every job you're applying for. And I know that sounds time demanding, but it isn't. Once you have your outline of your resume, you're just making small tweaks. You're adjusting your skills to skills that you actually have that you feel are relevant to that job. And instead of just like putting like bullet points, yes, I have this skill, this skill, this skill. At my last job, I ran firewalls, networking switches. And no, don't do that. Put it in sentence form. You know, for each skill that the employer is like looking for, write a sentence in your skill section. Don't just like put bullet points of your skills. You're not trying to, you know, win over a search algorithm here. You're trying to actually convey your experience to a human being. So what I would do is I would write a sentence out for the skills that they are looking for. This sounds silly, but it worked every single time. I'd write, you know, someone was looking for like a Cisco CMNO certification. And I would say, past Cisco CMNO certification as of such and such date. And I put that keyword in bold, and that way draw their attention to it. If they're looking for someone that's proficient in ASA firewalls, I would create a sentence talking about my experience with ASA firewalls, and I would put those keywords in bold just to highlight them, to draw their attention. Because the fact of the matter is, when your resume lands in a hiring manager's hands, if it's someone that's even technical, they're going to spend at max 5 seconds looking over it. And if you can't capture their attention in that first 5 seconds, you're in the trash bin. You're gone. You never get a chance again unless that job opening comes up again. So you got to capture their attention. So that's what I really recommend. And we could spend the whole show just talking about resume advice, in all honesty.
It's absolutely true. There's so many tweaks and things and little tips and tricks, but I love the fact that you put it out there to say, hey, it's not just that your resume sucks. Here's things you can do to improve it so that it sucks less, right? And less sucking resumes help get job, at least interviews. And that's what it's all about. Absolutely. That's what we're trying to help. So thank you for not just pointing out that there's a problem, but offering us a squeegee and a spray bottle to wash it off, right? Because that's, I mean, you know, you said it, and I say this all the time. I'm like, if you're not willing to invest in yourself that much, like that time and that effort to make your resume right for each job that you're applying for, what makes me think as an employer that you'll invest time and effort into the job that I'm offering you, right? So I want you to work that hard for me. If you'll work that hard for you, you'll work that hard for me. And that's...
And I'm not even telling people to spend extra time working on their resume every time they apply. Take that exact same amount of time you were spraying and praying your resume out, trying to apply to every, you know, job listing. Take that exact amount of time and spend like 10 to 15 minutes on each job application, adjusting and tweaking your resume. And I guarantee that your response rate will go up like 5x.
Yeah, you got to put the time in. You got to put the effort in. It's all about quality, not necessarily quantity. I know it feels like the right thing to do, to just, you know, get out the resume minigun, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, be like, yeah, you come take this HR. It's got and you spray.
That's a very good impression there.
Thank you. I've been waiting to pull that one out for a while.
And one other thing before we move to the next topic, a lot of people ask me about cover letters. Do you need cover letters these days? And I say yes, especially if the job listing asks for it. So one thing I do, I'm a hiring manager. I work at an ISP, and I ask for a cover letter. And to me, I put that request down at the very bottom of the job posting because I want to see who's actually going to read the full job listing and actually follow through. Because if they can't follow that simple instruction, you know, me asking for a cover letter, then what are they going to do when I actually hire them? So I can tell the people immediately who just spray and pray that resume to the people who actually take the time, read my job listing, take the time to just edit their resume, write a quick cover letter. I mean, I'm not talking about like write me a book of your life story. I'm talking to give me like a paragraph or two that you could even use AI to help you write about who you are and why should I even care. And that's how I actually weed out a lot of the people and try to target the people who are actually giving effort, who actually want to be in this field. And little things like that, again, it doesn't take a lot of time, make huge differences when you're actually trying to land that first job.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, man, this has been great. And we got one. I mean, it's hard not to ask or answer these questions when we see them. Mental Edge asks, AI for resume writing? Yes, no.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's
right.
that's
Fun.
tough. For writing your entire resume, absolutely not. No. But AI is a great tool to help you formalize your thoughts. You can just puke all your stuff at it and it can help you kind of organize it and give you a beginning first rough draft. But they're not you got to think about it. The people that are going to hire you, they're not hiring ChatGPT. They're hiring you. You got to make that resume personal. You got to make it representative of yourself. So you got to figure out how to tell your story. And I won't lie, I've drank the AI Kool-Aid. I am fully invested. Daniel and I were talking before the show on how I developed an app and I had AI help me vibe code it. But, it's a tool. It will help you speed up that process, but don't have it write everything for you. I know there's services that are even popping up, talking about AI resumes and that they're going to make it completely ATS compliant. It's not hard to make an ATS compliant resume. Matter of fact, I have free templates on my website that I give out that are for an ATS compliant resume. And it gives you an example of what to do, and you just plug your information in. It's quite simple. So I guess to get back to the question, AI is great to help you formulate your thoughts, do some grammatical checks type of thing. But I mean, I've tried it and I've told it like my experience and skills, and then it just completely hallucinates. And all of a sudden, I'm a Scrum master that has 10x plus experience working in these databases and stuff. And I'm like, I never told you that.
Dude,
I mean,
I
sure,
literally
great, yeah.
I had AI hallucinate some crazy stuff the other day. I'm like, did you just make this up? It's like, yes, I hallucinated this.
Yeah,
I
I
was
love that
laughing.
too about AI too. Like I was actually using AI to try to help me troubleshoot this thing today, and I'm like, this is false. Why do you tell me false information? And like, yeah, I did tell you false information. My bad. It told me my bad. Like,
I like how it's growing like a bro personality.
yeah,
Bro AI. That's what we need. Bro AI.
yeah.
Bruh. I mean, I
Bruh.
straight up just made that up. That's how I roll, dog. I don't even know
Yeah.
what to tell you. It's like,
So yeah, use it as the tool that it is. Don't make it do your work for you.
yeah, it's a great tool that can be leveraged to do a lot of really good stuff. Kind of going back to the idea, is it taking all our jobs right now? Obviously not yet, at least. We still have
Not
time.
yet.
I mean, I think it's what it's done. And I think any side to the AI argument can agree is it has taken the barrier to entry and has raised it up, right? It has made it to
Absolutely.
where you got to have more skills, you got to have more knowledge, you got to have as a prereq before the conversation even gets started with you.
You
So,
know, sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead. I was just going to say, so use that as a tool to get those things.
Bring this full circle. You want to get certification? Get certifications in AI. Get certification because that's the way. We're not putting this toothpaste back in the tube. AI is here whether we like it or not.
That's
So
it.
you want to learn skills that's going to really help you advance your career. Learn about AI and how you can use AI in your job because that's what's going to put you apart. Set you apart from everyone else. Everyone else is like AI. No, bro, no AI. AI is here. it's coming. It's in every tool, whether we like it or not. I mean, I hate it sometimes. It seems like every update I get is like, oh, we added generative AI to this to help you troubleshoot, and you go to use it, and it's just, bleh. But it's here, whether we like it or not.
That is a true story right there. That's good stuff. Anyway.
Cool story, bro.
Right. Yeah. It's a true story. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Is the problem. All right. Let's see here. We already did that one. Let's see here. Let's try to do some speed running here.
Okay.
We've got Outlander asks, what is better to do first, Security Plus or CCNA?
Ooh, my opinion, CCNA. You got to understand how the network works before you can protect it.
I can't find any fault with that logic. A CCNA is a great bit of knowledge, man. You will learn a lot about networking.
It is so CCNA. Yeah.
And then when you get into security, you're like, oh, that makes sense because I can tell you how many people are like, hey, this didn't work. They tried something on my YouTube channel or they did a course and we're trying to get things. I'm like, can you ping it? Like, I don't know. I'm like, if there's no connectivity between the devices, no wonder it's not working. You have to make sure there's yes. So I get networking first, then move to security. So good stuff there. Let's see here. Oh, interesting. Another one from OX Nacho Shell. Do you think age matters when it comes to entry level?
Unfortunately, a little bit. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, absolutely not. I don't think age matters. But there are some employers, we can't ignore it. There are some employers that will discriminate against age, unfortunately.
And why is that? Tell people why.
Because, honestly, the younger they are, the cheaper we can pay them. I mean,
there it is.
If you want it straight,
straight, no chaser.
With age comes great knowledge, but typically
and a mortgage and kids.
Kids, yeah. But if you are determined, you really want to get into this field, there is not a darn thing in this field that will stop you. You can absolutely achieve your dreams.
Yeah, it is true. You just have to have the will and the want, and you'll find a way to make it happen, right? You'll get the right search. Kathy Chambers, she's in the house somewhere. I happened to see her having this conversation because we were talking so much about resumes, and she was like, "No, dog, it's networking." That right there is the superpower that me, you, John Hammond, Jerry Ozier, that's what
matters.
Dude,
age doesn't matter. It matters who you know. And this is something I hate about tech. Like, sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. And it's been that way since the dawn of time and technology, and it's not going to change. I hate to say it. That's what truly matters sometimes, though. It's not what you know, it's who you know. I don't
hate it. I think it's just
it's great for the people who actually.
Well, yeah, because we feel like it's like some weird form of nepotism, right? Like, oh, the only reason you got that job is because you knew somebody. Well, you can go out and know people too. You have to leave your mom's basement from time to time. And I know that's going to hurt.
Touch some grass. And
get your butt up out of the chair. Listen, I remember, so I used to watch, as a young man watched a lot of MTV because I'm guitars into music back when they had music.
Yeah.
And there was like this Aussie tour bus thing. And I remember watching this guy, and they got an individual from each one of these bands. It was kind of like a battle. It was like, it was when they started really cooking with the reality TV, and there were challenges and so on and so forth. And there was this guy that was on this bus, and he was a total, nobody liked him. Okay. I'm just going to put it that way. Nobody liked him. And of course, eventually he gets kicked off the bus, and they do the confessional interview thing. And he's like, I'm just going to go home and I'm going to get so good at my guitar that I'm going to blow everybody away. And you're like, you missed it, bro. It's not about being the best guitar wizard that ever walked the earth. It's about being cool and having fun and being a person people want to work with. You are someone no one wants to work with. That's why they kicked you off this bus. Everybody was sick of you. It doesn't matter if you were the greatest guitarist on earth. And just translate that. It doesn't matter whether you're the best cybersecurity person, best IT, doesn't matter, right? If no one wants to work with you, you're not going to get work. So meet people, get out there, have some fun, be cool, lighten up a little bit.
Gone are the days of the basement, IT departments, the socks that you never see the light of day. They're dimly lit and smelled like old pizza boxes and socks. Like that is gone. IT, cybersecurity is a customer service job. You are dealing with people all the time, whether it's external customers of the org or your internal organization team members. IT tech is customer service. And that's where those soft skills come in. That's why they matter so much. I can teach you all the hard skills on how to do the job. I can't teach you how to be a good people person, how to communicate. Those are skills I just can't teach. You have to have those skills. And that's why, people will come to me and like, I want to get into tech, but I've only flipped burgers at McDonald's. Well, guess what? You already have one of the most important skills. You have soft skills. You've talked to people. Lean into your customer service skills, because you can. Sorry, I was getting a little carried away there, but you can demonstrate those customer service skills in your resume, and then when it comes time to that interview, blow their socks off with how great of a customer service person you are, how well you can articulate and talk to people. That will win them over. I've had 2 jobs in my career where I definitely was not at all the smartest person applying for the job. And I know this because I've asked the hiring managers, why did you pick me? And both of them said, we have definitely more qualified candidates apply to this job, but we could tell your personality was going to be a hit with our team. You would integrate in so well. You had that drive, you had that desire that I can't teach you those skills. And I can just tell you'd work well with the team. So that's why we went with you. So it just goes to show you that soft skills, the communication skills are huge in this industry.
Yes. Preach. And loud enough for the people in the back that can hear it. It's absolutely true. I'm looking at chat. I saw Roswell UK. We're going to get to one of his questions here in just a second, saying, maybe that's why nobody wants to work with me. He's had trouble getting work. And it's not necessarily the case, right? It could just be coincidental, but we cannot stress enough the importance of you going out there and finding. It's hard to go out and find someone that's a hiring manager and become their best friend. But what you can do is you can reach out, find business organizations. To Dakota's point, this is a business now. It's not just we need someone that knows how to run these computers. We need someone that can work with clients. We need people that can be in the business sense and work really well with our end users, our clients, our customers, whoever. And that's where those soft skills come in. If you can go out and find a community of business people and showcase your skills, and most areas have them. I've got one in my community. Yep. There are global ones. Get plugged in, become a part of that stuff. Go to those weekly meetings, go to those monthly meetings, and be that person. And then you're going to get referrals. You're going to be like, oh, you give a little presentation, you show off your skills. These are ways in which you can showcase your personality to the right people that can go, hey, actually, you're a really cool person, man. I would have never known. And you've really given some good presentations. These are the things you got to do. So I don't want to take more. Absolutely. This is Dakota's time, not Daniel Preachy time. All right, let's get to Roswell's question here. Let's get to this. And it is, can you ask about how can you handle a situation where you're in a multi-role? So like you're a solutions designer, risk manager, delivery manager, business analyst, security consultant. Is that something that is possible nowadays, or is that most likely going to be the case where you're kind of wearing multi hats?
Yeah, the more time that goes on, the more I'm seeing you really have to be a Jack or a Jill of all trades. You have to have all these different hats and skills. I'm a director of network operations, but I can't tell you how many of things that wouldn't normally not be in my job that I do. I help take care of internal IT stuff. There is this one time, we deployed these switches out in these boxes out in the community to do like this community Wi-Fi project. And we found out these boxes, these enclosures were leaking, and most of the team had gone home for the day, and they're up on these telephone poles. And I'm like, well, I have experience with heavy equipment. I've actually been in, lifts and bucket lifts. I'll just go out and, pull these switches out so they don't get, we're not ruining $1,000 a piece of equipment. So what did I do as a director of network operations? I put on a fall harness. I drove a bucket truck out. I boomed up on these poles and I pulled our equipment out. That's not in my job description, but I went and did it because it helped the organization. And man, did my boss appreciate that and recognize that. And that's, they're gone are these days of just being siloed off. And to a point, I want to also say, as you start to progress and become more and more of a specialist in your career, you might actually start seeing, where you're expected to just focus on one task and you're not expected to do all these other things. But especially in these lower level, entry level roles, you're going to be a jack of all trades. You're going to wear all these hats. You're going to have all these skills. And you know what that does? You know, a lot of people are like, well, I'm not getting paid to do that. Well, if you don't do it, someone else is going to do it. And it just makes you that much more valuable to the organization. They're going to be that much more likely to keep you around if you can do multiple things for them. So, I mean, yeah, absolutely.
I love that you brought up the old adage, the old saying, "Jack of all trades," and a lot of people don't know the whole saying that goes with that, which is a jack of all trades and master of none is oftentimes better than a master of one, which is
Yeah.
exactly what we've been talking about, right? You
Yep.
build a variety of different skills. It's cool if you niche down into something and that's kind of your thing and that's where you really shine and that's your passion and so on and so forth. But you got to have a broad set of skills. So, Roswell, your question is very apt and to the fact that you're gonna be doing a lot of different roles.
Yeah. And you know what? You're just building job security, because what happens if your job goes away? You know, if exterior forces make your company close and you only know how to do that one thing, you're only going to be able to apply for a small portion of jobs. Where if you have tons of different skills and you have experience and willingness to adapt, if you lose your job tomorrow, you're going to have that much more opportunities to find work quicker. So
Love that. Love that. Absolutely. Great, great point. Let's go to Christopher Young here. Christopher Young asks, what basics would a newbie need to cover before taking my Pentest Plus? Oh, it's about my Pentest Plus course to be
You gotta answer
competitive
this
for
one.
the exam. I guess that's on me.
That's on you.
So really easy. The basics. Hey, you got to know operating systems. You got to know Windows. You got to know Windows Server and desktop. You got to know a bit of Active Directory, right? Because we got to remember, when you're at the pen testing, when you're at CISA level, when you're doing SOC analyst, this is assuming that you've been in IT for a while and that you've done a thing or two and you've been around the block. You got to know networking, right? We've already talked about this.
Yep.
If you don't know how things connect and you don't know how to fix them when they don't connect the way you think they should, you're going to have a hard time making things work, right?
Yep.
And troubleshooting when things don't work the way you think they should work. And you go, why is this not happening? If you can get down to the guts of the thing, so that's going to be a really good thing to go. It never hurts to have a little bit of web understanding how websites work, HTML, HTTP, all that fun stuff that goes on there, PHP. I'm not saying that's a necessarily need to have, but it's a nice to have. Same thing that goes with Docker. Docker's not a need to have, but it is a very good nice to have. Well, we'll try to help you out with that a little bit in the course, as well as you do need to know some virtualization skills. You need to be able to spin up a type 2 hypervisor in your environment and build a VM and use the thing, right? So those are the baselines right there, the quick and dirty 30-second elevator pitch on what you would need to be successful at that. All right, let's get back to it. Alice Grimm, I bet this is going to be fire. How would you approach trying to enter the industry with the HR issues, the market as it is, LinkedIn as it is? Do you see any neat trends of unique ways to pave a path? I told you this would be a good question. This girl.
There is, I mean, so many different ways to break in. And really, I mean, nail on the head there. You have to stand out. You got to, there's hundreds and thousands of people applying for the exact same job you are. What's going to make you different than them? You got to figure out how to stand out. And, the issue is a lot of people don't put in the extra effort to, LinkedIn is a great resource to help you stand out more. You can post about what you're doing in your blogs. You can create blog posts there in LinkedIn. You can talk about your experience. You can network with people on LinkedIn at the company that you're looking to apply for. You got to say, you got to figure out how you're going to differentiate yourself between everyone else out there that's applying. So it's difficult. You got to figure out, why are you special? In all honesty, you got to figure out what you really enjoy and lean into that. Talk about that in your job interviews. Talk about that in LinkedIn posts. You have to just figure out how you're going to stand out, and there's different ways to do that.
Yeah, there's plenty, and we've talked about a bunch of them already. We've talked about starting a YouTube or making blog posts, starting a Medium. There's tons of different ways. Yeah, I've had this question myself, and when I recommend those things, somebody actually jumped in and was like, "So you're telling me I got to become an influencer?" And I think I've probably addressed this on this show or others as well. I'm not saying that you got to become an influencer. I don't think Dakota is telling you got to become an influencer.
Yeah.
But if you don't have anything that's out there that you can point to that shows that somebody can tangibly go and go, I can click this link and it takes me to something that you did, and look at it and expresses your personality. I think another great point that Dakota you've brought up is that you got hired because they liked your personality, not because you were the smartest person that showed up that day, right? Show who you are. It can be really easy to get anxious and overwhelmed going in there going, I got to get this job, man. I need this job so bad. It's so, I hate this, but this is how it works. This is the worst thing you can do. The worst thing you can do is to get all up in your head and get anxious. You're going to get in there. You're going to forget things. You're going to be the worst version of you half the time when you do that. So please do whatever you got to do. Take a breathing exercise, chill out, come in. And I get it. Listen, I've literally gone to gas stations and asked people to wash their windows for money to pay for my gas.
Yeah.
Right? You got to go in these rooms with confidence and fun, good attitude. That's the skill that you can't show. That's difficult, right? To put on a piece of paper. Bring that into there with that resume and all those cool things you've done. You trust me, you will stand out because everybody else shows up going, I got to get this job. I got to get this job, man. Oh, please. I got to get this job. Right. And you came in there cool as a cucumber, chill.
A great way to practice those skills, though, and it comes back to networking. Go to those in-person networking events. Go start talking to these hiring managers, building those skills, and you're going to do it more and more often. When you go to an interview, no big deal. This is a Thursday, whatever,
Yep. Yeah.
You don't
Same
come
old
out.
thing.
Yeah. Don't try to, don't come off too overconfident, that, because there's nothing that will kill an interview that will make me hate you more. Is you come in and like, oh, I know more than you. Don't worry about
cocky
it.
Swagger, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Oh, I didn't see on your resume where you were 16. That's cool.
Oh my gosh.
Right. Interesting.
No, it's practice those skills. Take every opportunity to develop your communication skills that you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Work with a team. Get on things like Discord. Build your own Discord. Build your own little community of people. Build a CTF team. Have some fun together, and then do exactly what Dakota's talking about. Like, let me bounce my resume off you. Ask ChatGPT to give you a handful of resume questions, and then you fire them at me, and let me jump on you, and let me see how it goes. You tell me what you think, and give me like brutally honest feedback.
Yes.
That's the other thing, man. You need to be able to take that constructive criticism right between the eyes and go, yeah, man, hit me again. Feels great. It's that scene in Happy Gilmore when he's in the batting cage. He's like, oh, that one hurt, but I love it. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Insult my resume again.
That's right. Do it. Just roast me hard, right? Man, we only got a few minutes left. Dakota, this has been great. Tell us a little bit about your time winning a CTF at Defcon.
Oh gosh, that was such a blast. So this year was the first year I attended Defcon in person. And man, Defcon is like no other conference you've ever gone to. It's the world's largest hacking conference. And it was just so much fun. The vibe was so chill. Most conferences you go to, it's all sales pitches. It's people trying to sell you things. And DEF CON is not like that at all. It's just a room full of hackers that just want to have fun. So I got invited to do a CTF that was posted by Hack the Box, and it was all about their new Sherlock Holmes CTF they have coming out. And they invited a couple influencers out, Tyler, and a couple others, to participate in the CTF. I'm like, sure, I guess. I mean, I've done a few online CTFs, but never one in person. How hard could it be? Whatever. So I show up to the CTF and there's like this big wheel and we spin the wheel and we get assigned these tasks. And I'm looking at this wheel and it has a whole lot of things on there that I have no clue what they're asking me to do. So it gets my turn and I get selected an OSINT challenge, which is cool because I feel like I'm familiar with social media. I've done that kind of thing before. So my challenge was to go find these two people that were Hack the Box employees somewhere in the conference. And this conference, they take over the Las Vegas Convention Center, which is the largest convention center in the US. So it was just massive. I had to find two people in this crowd of 30,000 people to get a cipher from them and try to decode the message. So I immediately first and foremost, we were allowed to have team members, which is something I was kind of foreign to me. A lot of CTFs, you're always on your own. So I spent like a half an hour trying to recruit people to help me solve this CTF, because I just had no clue. And after about like a half an hour of just not recruiting anyone, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna try to tackle this myself. So I hopped on social media. I actually saw that these two people posted that they were in the Noob Village, which was something really cool. It's a whole area of Defcon designed just for people that are breaking in and new to cybersecurity. So I immediately throw my laptop in my bag, book it across the convention center, and I found them chatting out there. And there was a phrase I gave them, and after I gave them the phrase, they handed me this jumble cipher and I had to decode it, which I had no experience decoding ciphers either. So I'm getting on Google, I'm trying to plug this cipher into a bunch of different things and finally decode the message. So I run back to them and tell them the message. And the message was, "You're a great detective after all, Holmes." The whole thing was Sherlock Holmes based. It was super cool. As soon as I told them that, they hand me a challenge coin, and the whole challenge was the first person back to the Hack the Box booth with this challenge coin actually wins the CTF. So we had about 3 hours to do the challenge, and here I am about an hour and a half into the challenge, and I just got my token. I'm up against some of some really smart, cybersecurity influencers. There's Cyber Maddie. There was tons of other people that live and breathe cybersecurity. And here's me, my first ever in-person CTF, no one on my team, and I'm there's no way I'm the first one back. But I grab my challenge coin, I run all the way across the convention center, backpack in tow. I'm just sweating bullets because it's just hot. It's Las Vegas in middle of summer. And I get back and find out I was actually the first person back. So I won the CTF challenge. It was a blast like none other. It was just so much fun to participate. And the grand prize, which is super cool, is they actually sent me out to the Las Vegas Speedway to actually drive a real race car around the road course there. Not just sit passenger, I actually got to drive a race car and do laps around this road course. So it was an absolute blast.
Dude, that is such a cool story, man. That's why we do this stuff, right? I have been constantly harping on the fact that we need to have more fun in cyber. If you're out there and you're I'm not having any fun with this stuff anymore, it just feels like me and a drudgery. I just do the same things over again. I'm not getting anywhere. Man, get out there, reach out to some people, join some Discords, start a group, have some fun, do some CTFs, fail at some CTFs. It's the kind of things that make us enjoy doing this stuff and will help keep you going in those times when it feels like you're in a dry spell. You're just out in the desert in Vegas, 155 degree heat, and it's just blistering, but you're still having a great time. So definitely build a small community for yourself and join larger communities as well. Dakota, thank you so much, dude. This has been such a fun interview. It's been such a fun conversation. I'm going to cough my way out of here. We totally got to do this again. I look forward to hanging out with you in the near future because tell some people what you got coming up and then we'll call it a night.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I have Daniel coming on the channel here soon. We're working on that podcast. He's been on the channel several times. He's done an okay job, I suppose, as a guest on the podcast. But no, I release a podcast every Monday talking about how to break into the industry, how to advance your skills. It's not just about cybersecurity, it's about tech in general. So there's definitely that. You can check it out over at the Bearded IT Dad or the IT Career Podcast on any podcast platform out there. So
awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Thank you again, Dakota. It was great to have you on. Look forward to the next time we get to hang out. Thank you, everyone, for
absolutely.
joining us tonight. But it's time to call it a night. It's time to put the kids, well, they're already best. Time to put the grown-ups to bed. Thanks for watching. And